Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 83 and we have a good one for you today. Today's fish is a fish that's really cryptic and not very well known, but if you live in Australia you probably recognize this fish. Today's fish that we're going to be talking about is the Notch-headed Marblefish. So the notch-headed marblefish, or scientific name Aplodactylus etherigii. Oh my goodness. Aplodactylus etherigii. There we go. Sorry about that. It is part of the family Aplodactylidae, which is the family of marblefish. If you can imagine that. Now these fish are they're found only on around the islands in the Tasman Sea. And with the Tasman Sea, it's in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, and it's the stretch of water between Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, that is technically a sea. It is listed as a sea, and it is the Tasman Sea. It's a very large body of water. These fish are found very shallow, and they stay shallow. A lot of times we talk about fish and we're like, oh, you find them shallow, but they can be found down to 500 meters, 300 meters, things like that. Well, the notch-headed marblefish is really only found in coastal reefs at depths of about 6 to 20 meters, which is about 20 to 66 feet. So these things really don't get below 70 feet of water, which as marine fish go is actually fairly uncommon, as you probably well know. Now in terms of size, they are a medium-sized fish. They have this extremely elongated body. Well, I wouldn't say extremely, just an elongated body. Look very similar to a cigar, things like that, but a little thicker. Basically their body depth is only about a quarter as deep as the fish is long. They do have scales. It kind of doesn't look like it, but they do have scales, and they're actually extremely small, tiny scales. I wouldn't say tiny, but very small scales that are actually embedded in the skin. So there's a lot of fish kind of like that. Basically they have think salmon scales, which salmon have very, very minuscule scales. Now they do have a singular dorsal fin. It is sometimes hard to see that it is a single dorsal fin. It's usually looks like it's two separate, but it's connected just a tad. And that front dorsal fin has about 15 to 17 spines. So this is definitely a fish I imagine that you do not want to grab a hold of. Something else to note, they do have these large pectoral fins. But let's be honest. What are we noticing about this? The head. I mean, the head is just crazy. It's got this short snout, rounded head, and the large individuals have this bony ridge right over the eye. Two pairs of nostrils, you can see right there. But let's be honest, these lips on that very small mouth that is pointed downward, and that when it's pointed downward like that, it's called a subterminal mouth. It's pointed straight down almost, and it's these huge fleshy lips. Well, that is actually kind of like the interesting fact. We're actually going to have the interesting fact early in the video instead of later on. So the interesting fact about this fish is that they're actually an herbivorous fish. They graze on algae exclusively. Well, I say exclusively. They do eat any sort of insects found on the algae, but they're primarily algae eaters. I believe they're specifically eating on red algae. But that is why they have these fleshy lips that allows them to kind of grab and pull that algae off those rocks. But then what else is interesting is they actually have those algae eating teeth as well. they have 3 to 4 rows of teeth, and all of their teeth are multicuspid. If you don't know what that means, basically think of your molars. Think of the back molars in your jaw, and that's going to be what kind of their teeth look like. And that grinding, cattle teeth that have that real wide flat surface that allows them to grind those plant materials up. Sorry that I'm throwing this in the middle. This was kind of a haphazard Fish Friday. I do apologize. The precious little one has been, she is doing perfectly fine. She's just a little cranky, which means that Daddy Ping gets significantly less sleep. So I apologize, but I am a little less prepared for this than I usually try to be. Now, in terms of this, if you couldn't tell by the pictures, they have an incredibly wide variation of color, super varied in colors. But predominantly, you're going to have this brown body that's covered in these extremely small white spots, especially on the bottom half of the body. And then on the top, you're going to have these larger spots, especially some larger dark spots. They have continuous spotting going on the fins. But what's really interesting is if you look as well, under their gill cover, or that rear edge of their operculum, which is the ear flap right there, is bright orange, like bright orange. That's super unique, and not a lot of fish that I know of have an orange, especially on this picture. You can see it just sticks out there. Something else to note about their operculum, they do actually have a spine on there. So this fish does have just spines, it seems like, everywhere. In terms of why it is called the Notchheaded, you want to say hi to everyone? In terms of the Notchheaded marblefish, if you couldn't tell, the reason why it's called that is because of this little notch right here. They basically have like a humpback. That's where it gets its name from. So there you go. Again, I apologize for this. Got to take care of family first. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you do, I'd really appreciate it. Hope to see you again. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. And peace.